So looking now to the market on open imbalance, the S&P 500 sell side 225 million, Nasdaq 100 a buy side of 15 million, Dow 30 a sell side of 35 million, Mag 7 stocks a buy side of 15 million.
Order filled.
Okay, welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus, CB Consumer Confidence. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the Trading Director at 10 Minute Trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. Okay, good morning everyone and welcome to the Trade Room. Let me just get started, get everything set up properly. Get the webcam going. Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's shrink this down a little bit. Okay. So right now the markets are opening. That's what we're seeing. You're seeing the markets open. And let me just get my charts set up. So, welcome to Consumer Confidence and JOLTS. And that is the catch today. So, we have a history with Consumer Confidence and JOLTS that is a problem. So, if you notice, the DMM, our daily trade report, and I do want to welcome everyone that's watching us on YouTube, so thank you for joining with us. We do have a daily trade report, and we do have a heads up on this report. And the heads up is there's absolutely extra risk that you have to consider trading the JOLTS report with another report. The history right now, JOLTS is a powerful trade. It's become a very important report. The problem is it has a nonstop tendency to whipsaw over the past multiple JOLTS reports. It's been causing other reports to whipsaw. So it also doesn't trade with consumer confidence very often. So it's extremely difficult to have a good, correct setup. Let me get can you all see my screens in the trade room? Okay, testing the mic, testing the mic, 1 2 1 2, testing the mic, 1 2 1 2. Okay, so what I was saying is that there is a history of the JOLTS report causing whipsaws, okay? The JOLTS report causes whipsaws. And that's what it's been doing over the course of the last 3 to 4 JOLTS reports. So we're not recommending at this point trading a regular, normal, everyday breakout. I think the risk, look, there could be a breakout that works perfectly, but the way the JOLTS report has been behaving over and over and over the past 3 or 4 months does not lend it to being a good, safe report at the moment. Now, the other issue is because JOLTS creates so much bigger of a move than what would be normal, we don't have a way to know for sure yet what the JOLTS setup should be with consumer confidence because they don't trade together often enough. There's really only been one recent JOLTS report with consumer confidence. We have a secondary setup as a trap trade. And let me just show you what happened in July. Let me just check something. Okay, so in July, we had consumer confidence with JOLTS. I'm just checking, are you all able to hear me in the trade room? Give me a heads up, please, if you can hear me or not. Okay, good. All right, here is JOLTS in July, and it traded with consumer confidence. All right, we had gold on the left. We were looking at bonds on the right. And it was a quick reversal. It was not bad. It was one of the few times that JOLTS and another report wasn't a big problem. So we've got the issue that we're dealing with is we have one scenario where JOLTS worked and almost every other setup that JOLTS traded with another report did not work. It was a stop out when it traded with ISM manufacturing. It was a stop out when it traded with ISM services. So there's only an occasional time that JOLTS has worked recently with another report. So we do have what I would say is extreme risk in trading the JOLTS report today with consumer confidence, other than possibly taking a trade after the news, looking to see if possibly there's a magnet. We created a trap trade based on the fact that it could be riskier today. Looking at our trap trade spike sheet. So the way the trap trade works, because there's been a history of JOLTS reversing over and over, as of late, we've been looking at it as a trap trade on the ES. The difficulty is if you look at what happened in September, as opposed to what happened in April, May, June, and July, we had a very big move in September, and it blew the stops. It blew the stops of the trap trade, okay? It blew out the stops. However, I'm probably going to give it a shot in one of my accounts just as a test to see what happens. But my recommendation to all of our traders today is to watch the report. I think that there's extra risk because we don't have JOLTS and consumer confidence trading together normally, and the history of recent JOLTS with other reports, except one time 2 months ago, 3 months ago, one time 3 months ago, JOLTS and consumer confidence was okay. There's not enough data for us to say, well, this is what you should do because we have a high level of confidence that this is going to work. So we created a pretty hefty trap trade for the ES that should survive. We have a zone of safety of 65 ticks. 65 ticks. Now, I will say this, if JOLTS moves the way that it moved last month, it is possible to get stopped out even with that setup for the ES. So I just want to be clear, this is an extremely risky setup. Now, gold had been in the past the instrument that we liked to trade on the JOLTS report, ES or gold. Our trap trade is set up for ES. So let me go over the settings, what they are. And the ES settings on the trap. So how do you get the trap loaded? You double click on JOBB trap trade. And our first tier is 25 ticks. Tier 2 is 42. All right. So that's actually 67 ticks of safety. We would have to have more than a 67 tick move on the ES to ruin this trade. Okay. So I am going to test it in one of my prop accounts, but I'm not recommending that people trade this today unless you are totally understanding that this is ultra high risk because we're uncertain as to what could happen. Okay, I just want to be clear. We don't have enough testing to give us a real stable setup that has worked month after month after month. It has been almost 3 months since JOLTS and consumer confidence traded together. Okay, so we don't have a concept of safety for this trade. Yes, it's possible you could get a good gold breakout, but gold has been whipping very strongly on the JOLTS trade. And when we go back and look at all of our consumer confidence setups lately, gold has been reversing quite a bit, especially after hitting a target one target. All right. It's the reality of gold on this report. I'm telling you that the DMM absolutely looks better than it's. Let me change this. Here's the thing: the DMM is really consumer confidence by itself, not consumer confidence with JOLTS. We only have one DMM with JOLTS, okay? And that's the only JOLTS with another report that has worked well in 4 to 5 months. So This DMM is not a normal DMM today, and that's why we made this extra note. All right, I just want to be clear on that. We're not using the DMM for today. There's really no definitive perfect setup for gold and JOLTS. Yes, you could try this setup that worked in July, but there's no question it's an unknown high level of risk. Okay, so what could you do if you said to yourself, okay, I believe you, I absolutely believe you that you don't want to take this high level of risk. So before I finish that, let me just finish the trap trade. The time of the event is 9:59:55. That's the time, the activation time. If you're running the previous version of the software, your time of event is going to be 10 a.m. exactly, 5 seconds of prep. Okay, 5 seconds of prep. The stop is 25. Position size 1 is a 1. Position size 2 is a 1. Tier 1 is 25. Tier 2 is 42. I'm going to manage the trap trade. Okay, that's the trade I'm going to manage. All right, and I'm going to trade it. I just have to check one thing.
Order submitted.
Okay,
Order canceled.
I'll manage it in my Buellnox account. Now, on gold, so let's say you're a very stubborn person and you want to trade gold. The last time gold worked on this particular event was, like I said, it was back in July, and it traded with JOLTS back then. So you could use this current setup. Understanding the level of risk is extreme, okay? It's an extreme level of risk. The other thing you could do is, let's say, for instance, you want to trade after the news, okay? If you want to trade after the news, then you could set up a reversal continuation setup. Trade type would be reversal continuation. You decide how many positions you want to trade. Let's say you're just going to trade one position and you're going to go for 20 tick target, okay, and a 20 tick stop. And then you're going to set the account that you traded on, and then don't forget you're also going to label the trade, REV, however you feel it makes sense to label it, okay? Whatever you think makes sense, that's how you'll label it. And you choose the account you're going to trade it in, okay? Now, you can trade a reversal continuation on a variety of different instruments. On this particular report, we will probably see movement on the NQ, or you could trade the MNQ, for instance, if you wanted to. The MNQ, right now the markets are somewhat down. They're not horrifyingly down, but they're down a little bit. So you could trade, if the JOLTS report and consumer confidence is really good, the market might change direction and do a high of the day magnet. Okay, it's already just done the low of the day magnet. So certainly one possibility for a trade would be an NQ high of day magnet. Let's take a look at the ES and see what the ES looks like. And the ES looks somewhat similar to the NQ. It's already made the low of the day. So you could also, if you have very good news out of JOLTS and consumer confidence, and the price changes direction, we might get a magnet to
At
the
10 a.m.
high
Eastern Time, we
and
get
the
US JOLTS
PP
job
on the
openings,
ES.
forecast 8 million on the prior
So there's two
8.04 million, with a
definite
range of
possible
8.2
magnets
million
that
to
look pretty good.
7.75 million. We also get USCB consumer confidence forecast 99.5
So
on
the
prior
first one,
98.7, with a range of 103 to 95.
I think that I like, I think both of them are pretty darn good. So let's say you're going to set up the ES magnet. All right. First off, our trap trade is ready to go. All right. On JOLTS on the ES. I will manage that trade. Okay. That's the trade I'm going to be heavily managing. So let's say on the ES, you want to set the magnet up for a high of day magnet. All right. So it's going to be a long. So you click on strategy and we're going to click on magnet. Let's go down and label it right away, ES magnet. Okay. And high of day, low of day, magnet enabled. Let's put in 10% and then 2 positions. All right. 2 positions. That's it. That's all I'm doing. I'm going to leave everything else alone. I'm going to apply it and okay it. Watch what happens when I apply the ES magnet up here. It shows me this thick line, which is my fill, okay? And the fill, if the price goes up and starts getting close to making a new high, this looks like a pretty nice fill to me. It's just under yesterday's open. It's under the PP. It's under the high of the day. I'm going to let that magnet, that's a possible. All right. That's a possible. Then remember, we looked at the NQ also. NQ traders, you've got a similar magnet, you have less levels because the open is in the middle over here, but you have the PP and the high of day. The NQ, you could add another magnet. We're going to label it NQ magnet, okay? And we're going to do the same thing, 10%, 2 positions, but only 1 target. That's how I'm doing it. Apply it and okay it, and then enable the NQ magnet. And again, we have an area. We have an area where we're going to get filled. I think we can go a little bit closer because if you look by creating a crosshair, if you hover over the magnet button, it'll show you your buy is 546.50. So there's quite a few ticks of profit before you get to the high. Okay. If we got filled at 47, the high is 7 points away. That's 28 ticks away. On the NQ, our default target is only 10. Oh, no, it's 20 ticks. It's nope. Let me go back. NQ, our target is going to automatically, what's going to happen is the target's going to go -3 ticks to the high. We can leave it there. Okay, we can leave it there. Now, I think that NQ has probably a better chance to give you a bigger move than the ES just by the nature of the NQ. It moves more significantly during news. So let's go with the NQ magnet, right? And I'm just doing some testing here. So if the market pushes up to our fill keeps going and hits our
At 10
high
a.m.
of the
Eastern Time,
day,
we get US
the
JOLTS job
NQ
openings
magnet
forecast
will
8 million
work.
on the prior
Okay, that's how
8.04
this
million, with a
works.
range of
It's going to
8.2
be
million to
long only. So I'm
7.75
turning
million.
off the
We also
short,
get USCB
turning off
consumer
the short.
confidence forecast
I don't want
99.5 on the
a
prior
short trade. I only
98.7,
want
with a
long
range of
because we
103 to
already tested
95.
the low while we were in the trade room. If I'm wrong and it goes low, if you want to do both, just leave the short on. The order's there, okay? And it'll fill fairly close to the low and it'll fill, okay? So I'm going to actually leave it on. I'm going to click the button so we're in auto mode, all right? But my real trade is the trap. That's the real trade that I'm watching this morning. And once again, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm just taking a look over there to see who's here. You can hit that like button. We would love that. Really appreciate it. So that's what we got going on. The danger of the trap trade is if the news is great and the market only goes in one direction, it'll ruin the trap because it won't reverse and it'll go through our stops. That's the downside. Now, you have to watch the NQ. We have our magnet trade on auto mode, right? It's purple. That means we've put it on automatic. But if we get too close to the fill before the news, I'm going to cancel the auto button. So you want to keep an eye on the price action. I don't want to get filled before the news, okay? I don't want to get filled before the news. To be totally safe, what you can do is 5 seconds before the news, that's when you can press your auto button. You can wait 5 seconds, okay? And by the way, good morning, Will's Performance Tech. I never responded to your message on YouTube, so good morning. I apologize for not responding. I don't think we're going to get a fill before the news. We only have 2 minutes. But look, if you want to be safe, you can wait and not automate your magnet until it looks like the news has not, it's safe. You want to wait until it's perfectly safe. You don't want to get filled before the news comes out. Now, we don't forget, if you wanted, you had a gold. Sorry, we had an NQ. We had a reversal continuation trade on this chart also. We originally did that with the ES, but you could do it with any instrument. We do have that setup available to us also. Okay, all you have to do is turn it on. Maybe the magnet won't fill, right? It's possible that it won't
NATO's route
fill.
says, I met EU's von der Leyen and agreed to set up a new task force to strengthen
And if it
NATO
doesn't
EU
fill,
cooperation.
you could turn it off and you could still use your reversal continuation. So we've got 1 minute now, a little bit more than a minute and 10 seconds. And I'm keeping an eye on my auto trade here because, like I said, I
1 minute
don't want to
remaining. I'll
get
lead with
filled before the
USCB
news.
consumer confidence.
It's pretty far away. But, we've seen some pretty intense moves out of these markets these days. Anything can happen. And then our trap is going to set up here 5 seconds before the news. So we can hopefully analyze everything intelligently when the trade is over. So the big question is, will our trap trade survive the news? Will it reverse? Will this report reverse like the
10
JOLTS
seconds.
has been doing almost every month for the
Order
past
submitted.
8-9 months? Here comes the news. Okay, we got a burst up that did not fill. It did not initially fill
So US
long.
JOLTS job
Okay,
openings coming in
our
first
magnet
at 7
did
spot
not fill
443 million,
either.
7 spot
Okay,
443 million,
the
lower than
magnet did not
forecast,
fill
8
either.
million.
So it looks like our
Still waiting for
trap
CB consumer confidence, but seeing
was
some
just a
downside in
little
the
bit
dollar.
too big. A little bit too big. I do not want to get filled short because it's the wrong direction, ultimately. But JOLTS has been so
So
choppy.
US JOLTS job openings
So
prior
very
revised 7
honestly,
spot
we had a
861
burst
million,
up,
7 spot
we
861
had a
million.
pullback down, we did not get filled. I'm turning off the magnet. It didn't go far enough. All right. And the trap trade, the settings just not big enough. Just not big enough. So I would cancel the trap also. I'd take it back. I mean, not small enough. Our
And
settings were
CB
too
consumer
big.
confidence,
The
108
concern
spot
was
7, 108 spot 7 higher than
getting
forecast, 99
filled
spot
and not
5.
having a reversal. We did get a reversal. It burst up, it pulled back down. That was our trade, and we
Order
missed it
canceled.
because our tiers were too big. They were too big. Now, you don't go crying in a corner. We had to err on the side of safety because of the
And CB
unknown
consumer
factor
confidence prior
in how
revised,
much the
99 spot
markets
2.
would move from this news. We didn't know because CB consumer confidence and JOLTS have only traded together once, okay, in the past 3 months. If we go back further, you got to go all the way back to January for another occasion where they traded together. Now, look, this magnet trade is still valid, okay? The consumer confidence news was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. The job numbers were somewhat lower, somewhat negative. It may be why we're getting a little bit of chop in the news reaction, okay? I think if the market is perceiving
According to Interfax, Russia
the
launched
JOLTS
ballistic and
news
cruise missiles as
possibly
part of
as
nuclear
being
drills.
somewhat
And US
negative
Treasury yields
because
pair gains
it
after
looks
JOLTS
like
data, 10-year yield last up 3
initially
basis
it's
points at
holding down
4.308%.
the NQ on the magnet. It looks like it's holding it down. All right. Now we have an extra month of data for when CB consumer confidence trades with JOLTS. My magnet
US short-term interest
is
rate
alive
futures
here
rise slightly after job
because
openings
I
data
think
as
if we
traders
get
add
to
to
this
bets on
area,
Fed rate cuts.
and I don't mind going a little closer, if we get to this area, we should get a test of the high. The NQ is positive. The NQ is positive. Calvin, we've been absolutely thinking of doing the MNQ. I might have used a slightly bigger bracket on that. Or no, what size bracket did you use? What size bracket? I probably would have used 3540. 25, okay. So watching the magnet, I want to thank everybody on YouTube for joining us. That was CB Consumer Confidence. I appreciate you all joining us. We're going to close down our stream and thank you. Keep an eye on your email for the next stream and we'll see you the next time. So thanks very much. Hit the like button on your way out on YouTube and thank you for joining us today.